What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is a USB adapter charger wall plug adapter thing. See it right there? And that's where you put the USB charger. I'll show you. So at the end of the day, you might look at one of these and think, wow, this is pretty cool. Pretty much take your USB device, boop, plug it in, and now you can plug it into your wall outlet and charge it or use it however you want. But you know what's funny about these little things? We can also use this to share the good news. Ready? Here we go. So at the end of the day, when you think about this, you probably never thought about this as something that can, well, point people to Christ. So, our wall adapter, which actually has one right down here, no joke, right down here. So let's say that's God. Let's say this is the world, right? This is us, lost. We don't know how to get to God. Guess what we're gonna use? Jesus. Well, it doesn't look like a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths, but you get the idea. This little wall adapter right here represents Christ. At the end of the day, you understand? Jesus came to connect us to God, the wall outlet, because we couldn't do it on our own. Right there. So when you put your life in God's hands, look what you're able to do. You're able to connect to God, which is our wall outlet. Never thought about that, did you? Ain't God good? So remember, at the end of the day, when someone ends up showing you one of these little USB wall charger adapter majiggers and says, hey, you want one of these? Take it, because it may be a good way for you to share the gospel. I'm M.King. See you next time. What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is one of those little USB chargers. You can see it right there? See what it looks like? A little USB charger. So you're probably wondering, why am I holding on to this? Well, I'll be very honest with you. I'm not necessarily holding on to it. Oh, I got it. What's going on, everybody? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering. And this is a screwdriver. I bet you've never looked at one of these nice steel blue beauties and thought, I sure could do a lot of interesting things with it. You probably thought about unscrewing, things or putting things into the wall. Me, I personally use this so I can actually take the screws out of my fan so I can clean them, right? But at the end of the day, did you ever think that something like this could be used to help us better understand, well, our tongues? Observe. So let's say this screwdriver is our tongue, right? It's very versatile. It's a tool, just like our tongue's a tool. But did you ever think that at the end of the day, just like this can tighten things and make them loose, our tongue can do the same thing? See, a screwdriver is our tongue. People are the screws. At the end of the day, you can use this screwdriver to tighten a screw in place to make something stronger, or you can use this screwdriver to loosen it and make something looser. It's the same thing with our tongues. You can use your tongue to make people tighter and stronger, or you can use your tongue to make people looser and weaker. So at the end of the day, when someone hands you a screwdriver and says, here, you can put that into the wall, you pretty much hold it up and now you can tell them how to use it to help them understand how life and death are in the power of the tongue. Yeah? You always learn something new here, don't you? Nevertheless, I'm M.King, and I will see you next time. It needs to be cleaned. What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is a mirror. It's a nice mirror. I actually used to use this. It was actually a part of a compact mirror when I was in the military. I got out of the military about give or take 9 years ago. And, well, as you can tell, this mirror has not held up very well. See? It's actually broken off with time. And I have the other piece. It's actually down here, but I'm not going to use it for this broadcast. This is a mirror. So you're probably thinking to yourself, M.King, why do you have a mirror? Well, I'll tell you why. You know, something like this can be a good example and a good piece for us to share the good news. Wonder how? Here we go. So, this little mirror, I bet you never really think about it when you're inside. But what about if you're outside? You go outside, you can take this little mirror and actually use it to shine light anywhere around you, right? But that light has to come from a source. So let's say you have a lighter. Can you use that to shine light around and help guide people? Not really. You know, just like this mirror is only useful if it has a light from above, it's the same thing with us. You see, we're like these mirrors. At the end of the day, when the light is coming from outside, it works. There we go. But at the end of the day, if the light comes from us, it doesn't work very well. Even right here, it's still catching the light from outside. So, do you get my point? At the end of the day, these mirrors are meant to shine light from a higher source, not from you. Just like at the end of the day, you're meant to shine light because of Jesus Christ, and not because of yourself. I'm M.King. The next time somebody hands you a mirror and says, here, take a look at yourself, why don't you use it to show them how we all can shine the light of Jesus Christ? See you next time. What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is a rubber band. Pew, 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 pew. You can use these things to flick them across the room at people. Ow! Or you can use it to hurt yourself. The one great thing about a rubber band is, yes, I have extra. The one great thing about a rubber band is, it's a pretty useful tool. It has its ups and it has its downs. You ever think these rubber bands represent us? I will explain. Let's say you're a mean-spirited individual. You take these rubber bands, you can use it to hurt folks. Or you can take these rubber bands and use them to such an extent, they'll break. Well, let's say you're a kind-hearted person. What would you do with these rubber bands? Remember, they're people. Well, you would use them to bind things up. You would use them to maybe bring letters together, letters of hope and encouragement, and you put them together, right? You would never take this rubber band beyond its limits. Well, let's add another layer to it. If these are people, the bad person represents the devil, and the good person represents God. Satan will always use us in malicious ways. He'll start off small and then keep going until we break. But God, He'll always use us in loving ways. Now don't get it twisted. The Bible says God chastises whom He loves. So He'll take us through some tough times, but He'll never take us to our breaking point. And He'll always use us to bind things up on earth. So at the end of the day, you have a rubber band, you can certainly use it to share the good news with people and let them know that they mean a lot to God. And that if they didn't, well, they'd be in the hands of the devil. And they probably wouldn't be together right now. I'm M.King. See you next time. What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is a nail clipper. These little nail clippers are so useful. They can cut your nails, and they can cut your nails. They're not bad, you know. But you know what? Something like this little nail clipper can easily be used to help us share the good news. You ready? Here we go. So let's say this little nail clipper represents trials and tribulations, right? This little nail clipper can be used to take a little off the top. This little nail clipper can be used to take a lot. And it can even be used to, unfortunately, cut you deep, right? Now, even though this little nail clipper can be used in various ways, there's one thing this little nail clipper can't do. This little nail clipper can't hurt you, right? What you have to understand is what you allow hurting you doesn't come from God. It comes from the enemy. So let's say this nail clipper is in God's hands. God is going to trim your nails, right? In order to keep them strong and healthy. That's what you have to do when you clip your nails. But this, trials and tribulations, in the hands of the enemy, he's going to cut it just as much as he wants to. And in essence, he's going to cause you to bleed, and he's going to cause you pain. But you know what makes it different? Is your perspective. So this little nail clipper is important because at the end of the day, whether it's in God's hands or the enemy's hands, it's your perspective that's going to make the pain worth it or make the pain unbearable. So as for me and my house, we will depend and lean on the Lord. Even if the enemy takes this and uses this against us, he's going to work it out for our good, his glory, and the benefit of other people. That's what God does. So I'm M.King. So next time somebody hands you a nail clipper, you might have an interesting testimony or story to tell them. See you next time. What's going on, everyone? I'm M.King, and this is our usual Friday gathering, and this is a stamp. Right there, you see it? So, a stamp. How are they made? A lot of times they're made with rubber stamps. You know, you take them and put them in the ink, and then you, right there on the screen, or in this case, the envelope. But you know, a rubber stamp can be used to definitely identify with us. Ready? Here you go. If you take a rubber stamp and put it in the ink, you can use it to make a stamp, like this, right? But if you don't renew that rubber stamp in the ink, and you continue to make more stamps, they're not going to look like this. They're going to look more and more faint with each and every time you stamp. Now let's say each time you stamp represents a day. It goes to say that if each stamp represents a day, then, that means that's each day you didn't apply that stamp to the ink, that rubber stamper to the ink to make a new stamp. What's my point? Let's say we're the rubber stamper, right? And it's our job to leave our mark. But it doesn't look like this, it looks like the cross. If we don't go back to our ink pad, which is the Word, each passing day, our mark becomes less and less impactful, just like a rubber stamp with less ink makes a less impactful stamp. So what am I trying to say? The next time someone shows you something like this, you can use it to definitely share with them the message of Jesus Christ. I'm M.King. See you next time. And get into God's Word every day so your mark can be as impactful as it was the day before.
This is an M.King Media production.